Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Nam the DC Camp, back for another video. First, call halal Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. Double honors once again go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders, great millstone, who through the Holy Spirit continue to pump out this truth. Salutations also to the fellow Akim out there around the four corners of this earth, pushing out this truth in all honesty and sincerity, trying to wake up the remaining hopefully elect. In this video, now, I'm sure you've heard of some, especially on the right, so-called Republicans, but you have to understand that these Edomites in general, overall, feel this way, that we are owed nothing, and therefore, they're not responsible. They don't want to admit that, yeah, they fucked up, and therefore they're responsible for our present condition, and they feel that, oh well, fuck it. Nah, you're going to pay. You're going to pay. But for all those that made the excuse, well, that was a long time ago. Ain't nobody here that was, no. In the course of a lifespan, there's a scripture that says, where, because everything's dwindled down so much as far as the years when you go from the time of Genesis, especially the second chapter on through the sixth, and after the flood, and then just ages started, diminishing as far as lifespans. Time, as we know it because of our mayfly type existence now, if you know anything about mayflies, you know what I'm talking about. By comparison, the scriptures are talking about our life is but like a breath or vapor. And by comparison to, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, that's true. All right. But it's still, we think, just throw out 100 years. When I was younger, that used to be, oh shit, I can't imagine, fucking 100 years. As I've gotten over, 100 years. You got people that live much longer than that. Even to this day, you got centenarians and you have super centenarians, meaning those over 110. It's not that rare as one might believe. All right. But still, when you think about slavery, this gentleman here, his name is Daniel Smith. He's one of the last people born to enslaved American, meaning he is the son, not grandson, not great-grandson, not great-great-grandson. He just passed away last week at the age of 90. All right. Daniel R. Smith, a civil rights demonstrator born to an enslaved father, passed away. An enslaved father passed away on Wednesday, October 19th. All right. He was one of the remaining living people whose parents were in American bondage. Reporters say he died at a hospital in Washington at age 90. So here, all right. Smith, who grew up in the 1930s, remembers sneaking out of bed to listen to his father, Abram A.B. Smith, that's a heck of a name, talking about his slavery days. I remember hearing about two slaves who were chained together at the wrist and tried to run away. They were found by some vicious dogs hiding under a tree and hanged from it. All right, my father cried as he told us these things. So this is the son, and as a little boy, he's hearing his father, and his father is crying, telling this, all right, because he remembers this. This is psychological, anguish here. Santa Butler, who extensively documented Black Americans born to enslaved people, says Smith was a living reminder that slavery was not that long ago. See, you're going to find out that they've always known this. The thing is, they never intended, nor will they ever intend, all right, to try to fix things, I'll put it that way. When you understand that our sole purpose, we were brought here to make them money. And this is another case of Exodus 7th chapter through 14th chapter. certain things are happening because the Most High knows this piece of shit, despite what comes out of his mouth, never wants to get to let us go because we've been lucrative, meaning we've been cash cows to this motherfucker. This whole thing was built on our backs and maintained in ways that a lot of you people probably don't recognize, all right, or realize, you know, that yes, we still prop this shit up. He knows this. We were never, ever, despite, and I said this in my last video, despite our, after so-called chattel slavery, well, it's not so-called, it was, but I meant to say after the so-called Emancipation Proclamation, we understand the scam that was. We ventured out trying to get away from these motherfuckers that were oppressing us and still to this day. But as usual, they don't want to let us go. And this includes gentrification. We get our own shit and here they come. The same thing happened ever since 1865. On up Jim Crow years. You know, the formation of the Klan, just domestic terrorism. Wherever we set foot and settled down, here they come. But that's scripture. That's, in fact, let's go straight to it. That's under the curses. This is Deuteronomy 28. Let's go all the way down to 65. All right. Let's see if any segments here. Nah. But these are the curses. 65 tells you what? Among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Most High Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. Isn't that sorrow of mind? These motherfuckers are always up to, you know, this other guy got killed. He had and it all started. So, and this is the thing about, you know, we should tell our, it's too late in the game now, but I'm just going to bring it up. There should have been, and I realize saying this is one thing and, you know, putting it to practice is another, but our kids need to know how to deal with the police. And like I just said before I made that statement, it's easier said than done. I realize this, all right? But you got to understand, some of these motherfuckers are trying to manufacture a reason to lay you down, all right? There was a young man, where was it? He had a psychotic episode, and he was just walking in the street, but instead of, and you know how the cops are, so we don't know what words were exchanged. He was taken into custody, and his father was trying to find out what was going on. He ended up dead, and finally, I believe it was after, I don't know, maybe a couple of days, someone spilled the beans and told what went on. He was butt naked, and they tased him, basically tased him to death. But yeah, this is the shit, you know, and it's disproportionately our people. So this is the thing. You know, I just read Deuteronomy 28 and 65. These are the curses, but we're here. These devils make the excuse, oh, it happened so long ago. No, this guy is the son of someone that was born into chattel slavery. All right. Continuing on, it says, you talk about the transatlantic slave trade, you talk about Reconstruction, and people really think that it's history, Butler told reporters. Mr. Smith is a reminder that it's impossible to get over it, like they usually say, right? Because it's still within these families' lives. Here he is right here. All right. Passed away last week. Smith's father was born into slavery during the Civil War in Virginia, and his family eventually escaped to Connecticut. They were the only black Americans in the town. Smith himself was born on March 11, 1932, in Winsted, Connecticut, to his 70-year-old father and a white mother. So his father was 70. All right, you do the math. So, Smith said he and his 5 siblings were poor as church mice. but one of his surrogate fathers, a white veterinarian, gave him a job at his clinic. There, he grew a fondness for animals and dogs and even wanted to join the Army's Canine Corps. Unfortunately, recruiters said they weren't looking for black soldiers, so he served as a medic in the Korean War. After his time in the war, Smith marched with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for civil rights, ran a federally funded program focused on providing health care for underserved communities, and he met with Archbishop Desmond Tutu during apartheid in South Africa. Well, whoop-de-doo. All right, I'm not raining on the guy's parade, but these people that, tend to be propped up, not really the best examples once you do your studying. Continuing on. He was also present for Barack Obama's historic inauguration as the nation's first, here we go, black president. And again, I'm not, no disrespect to the gentleman. It's just knowing what I know that came out, all right, because we've all been played for suckers. He says, continuing on, while Smith got busy in life, he said he always felt privileged for being part of a legacy, being one of the last surviving children of people who were considered property over a century ago. A lot of black children grew up in a world where they didn't know who they were and where they came from, Mr. Smith told reporters in 2020. But we were A.B. Smith's children, and that sustained us through anything. See? There's a type of, even in this, a sense of pride, not in a destructive way or arrogance, but a sense of, like, I want to say noble in a way, because nobility, because not that he was the son of a king or anything like that, but it was, like I said, in contrast to people always saying, well, this happened so long ago, there's why should we give them reparations? There's no cause. None of us were alive when, those old excuses, and that's bullshit. So what they're really saying is, fuck all you, fuck your descendants. That's really what they're saying. But whenever someone else's issues come up, we're supposed to be out there with a cigarette lighter, like you see Jakes do. But when it comes to us, and we said this at camp night before last, nobody gives a shit. And it's like, well, why don't we take that attitude with everybody else? Because we're the ones here, all right, that are still on the bottom, while everybody else, they come up here, they rub shoulders with, hee hee ha ha. And the people that sold us out, our so-called leaders, that's exactly what they did. These people come on and jump on our platform and springboard, off of it to somewhere else. And we're left holding the bag. Still. Because what? Our leaders, such as they're called, are sellouts. You gotta understand, these, even when it comes to your celebrities that a lot of Jakes like to idolize and look up to, why? Don't know. Well, I do know, but, they're under that spell. But these people are, what's the terminology? They are, corporate, what's that expression? Corporate revolutionaries, in the sense that these motherfuckers, they like, pumping the fist in the air. Yeah, brother, yeah, And these people have, they done moved on. That's the point I'm trying to make. They're not concerned with what you're going through anymore. They took the bag. You know, they're living. Let's look at an example of these rappers. You think their kids are living a life? No, they're in private schools. But this is the thing with, I bring up that rap shit, but you got to answer. This just keeps coming up. Why is this not considered hate speech? You've got a people that are being instructed to kill each other, to murder each other, rather, over petty bullshit. On the open waves, airwaves. All right? No matter what your social media platform is, these things are going on, encouraging our people to keep continually going off, to act like simpletons. Nobody else is doing this. Now, you have some that try to emulate what Jake does, but still, whose people is it affecting? Jake. See, this is the real reason why there was a big objection to Edomite parents out in the burbs wanting their children to get involved in rap. That's the real reason. Well, what if they start shooting up white people? But it didn't happen. It's still black on, so-called black on black. Okay, it's cool. So therefore, you have still who's the most people buying up all this rap shit? Edomite/white people. Their kids, mainly. That's what I meant to say. All right. Yeah, that's what's happening. So look at all these other articles. Racism in America was designated for black Americans only. This is another one. I'll do a video on that. But this shit, voice recordings of people who were enslaved offer incredible first-person testimonies. A slave-holding senator, all right, oh, Herschel Walker, oh shit. Anyway, so yeah, we have got to get the fuck up out of here. Point blank. All right. And it's happening. Like I said earlier, you know, this America is on its way out, and these people pretend to not know why. A good majority of them have figured it out. They're never going to tell us. All right, but enough of them have their nerves shattered to the point where, yeah, they say no. They realize that they put two and two together. You know, what we've done, how we've treated certain people. Yeah. Like I said, they're not going to tell you or I, but they know. They know. So it's not as big a surprise that you may think. All right, they just probably never thought it would be this soon. That's the real issue. All right. I thought they had another 50 years. I could have retired and, you know, no. That's why it says, you know, scriptures talking about it comes as a thief in the night, you know. But it also says, too, in Matthew 24 chapter, there'll be signs, all right? Look at all these prophecies that are being fulfilled, all these signs, all right? If you've got half a brain, all right, you're starting to notice something that's not right, right? All these things happening at the same time, you know, and everything's speeding up, all right? The frequency of these things is ever increasing. This is not natural. That's my point. So what's behind this? You know, wars, rumors of wars, famine, pestilence, more than there ever was before. Either a rumor or manufactured, which is in this case is both, because there's an objective behind it. There's an agenda. All right. The money's funny, and it's going to get even more funny. All right. If you're just going, you're not a big, spender. Everything's as far as the brick and mortar stores. Everything's not like it used to be. I mean, you still have your, crowd that's going to gather at the mall, primarily teenagers and stuff, shootouts and shit like that. It's really not safe, so people order their shit, online now, Amazon, making a killing, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get much worse. Now we're going into the colder months. Like I said, all these food prices are going up, inflation that is, and everybody's waiting till next week for what the Fed is going to say, whether they're going to raise interest rates and how much they're going to raise them. You got another virus popping up, or two. All right. Oh, it's lucky. So it should be interesting going into 2023 and beyond. Hey, so with that, once again, we've been talking about this gentleman right here. He passed away last week at the age of 90. He's the son of a former slave. Not grandson, not great or great-great-grandson. He is the son. All right. So there you have it. I hope, as usual, that you were edified. Again, this is something that when we talk about age, when we talk about years, as far as human lifespan goes, it really hasn't been that long. Not long at all. Here you're talking about 2 generations. Slavery. I'm talking about lifespans, that is. All right. I'm talking about 2. Just 2. Wow. Hey, so with that, Shalom.